Hey, welcome to the fourth take of the start of this episode of Talking Pictures with Talking Pictures. My name is Anthony Barnett. There we go.
Hello, this here is Coley Irving, and he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Jaycee.
You want to give two things about you?
Yeah. So have an adjective that starts with a J, and then your name, and then
what are you bringing to the party?
And then where you're from and what's your major.
Hi, my name's Jaycee, and I'm bringing Jello.
I'm jamming Jaycee, and I'm from Granbury, Texas. And my major is clown studies.
But
Jossum.
whatever.
Jossum Jassy.
All right. So Shane.
I'm Shane. I'm bringing Snapple. Just like in 8th grade when they asked me that same question in math class.
Sick. All right, so now you know us, and you know what we're all bringing to the party. I'm bringing apple juice. Sorry, I should have said.
Welcome. I'm bringing cookies.
Oh.
Nice. Everybody loves cookies.
Everybody loves cookies, just like they love Raymond.
Okay, so... Hey, man! Hey!
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
To our... Technically our... Sorry, I have a stutter. And Anthony's freaking me out.
Hey, just like a character from a movie we're about to talk about.
Oh, segues are cool! Welcome,
Segues are
ladies and gentlemen, to our second episode of our wonderful podcast. Third, if you like to do math.
Or to be correct.
Or just
be correct. We rather enjoyed making the first one, and last time was I almost said last week, but that wouldn't be correct. Was our best of 2017.
It was last week.
It was last week. What am I talking about? It was our best of 2017 talk. We talked about movies then. This week we are here to...
Yeah, that's right. We start off every episode with an ad for the last episode.
Yes, exactly. Last time on Talking Pictures with Talking Pictures.
So we're going to give a quick recap. It's going to be about 2 hours long about everything that we talked about in the last episode.
Yes.
No.
But this week we are here to introduce what we plan on doing for the rest of these podcasts.
Give or take.
Things might change sometimes, but here we're here to talk about a movie that we feel deserves talking about. So, Anthony.
Hi, that's me. I'm that. So, this week we dive saber first into... Oh no, I made an accidental double entendre. That was not on purpose. Okay, but whatever. We're talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So if you have never...
Boo!
So if you have never...
Boo!
So if you've never heard of Star Wars, clearly this is your first time on the internet, and we thank you for... Shane's raising his hand. All questions until after the intro, Shane.
No, that's me. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Shane hasn't seen it. But so if you have never heard of Star Wars, welcome to the world outside of your bunker. We haven't all died yet. It's not all fire and whatever else your cult leader told you. There are things that exist. So welcome. We're glad to have you. Star Wars: The Last Jedi came out last year. Definitely, easily the most controversial.
That's fair. I would agree with that.
And by that I mean 90% of people hate it. So I guess not really that controversial. Exactly. But yeah, so it's a movie. It's Star Wars. Shane, our friend here, in the last take, I sort of explained it to him, so I don't think we need to do that now. He said that he walked in... Yeah, critics really like it. Shane's looking at the Rotten Tomato score, which at this moment is 91%.
A lot of the users liked it too, 73%.
Yeah. We'll hop on Rotten Tomatoes and look at the audience score.
Yeah, the audience score is
41.
Yeah, it's rough. But so Shane, tell them your experience with this movie again.
Okay, so at the time I was dating somebody and we wanted to go see a movie because that was on the list of one of the dates of the week. So we went to a movie. It was gonna be the Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And we entered the wrong theater because they were playing it at two different theaters, and it was the last 15 minutes. But we had no idea what the movie was about.
Did you end up actually seeing the movie?
Yes.
Okay. You had no idea what it was about? It's Star Wars, Shane.
My parents didn't let me watch Star Wars when I was a kid.
Really?
For some reason. Whoa. My dad thought it was too violent.
It's probably because all the gay sex.
Is there gay sex?
I mean, that'll do it.
No, there's not.
It was the 70s, Shane.
No, there's literally zero.
Exactly. I don't know why.
A little bit.
Actually, yeah.
Really?
There's a peck between a
Can I torrent this right
brother and a sister.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But they didn't know.
So anyway, I saw the last 15 minutes, and then we went out of that theater to the new theater. We saw the whole movie plus the last 15 minutes again.
Wow.
Nice.
Sick.
So Shane's an expert on the last 15 minutes.
I am.
So when we get to that
twice.
section, he's gonna be like, "All right, motherfuckers." And
Shane
then
has
just,
his PhD in the climax.
Gross. But also
Kinda
very
true.
true.
All right. So I guess the first thing that I would like. Oh, spoilers. We forgot to do this last time too.
Yes.
Mad spoilers.
Mad spoilers.
So please watch it first, because it's something. I mean, all movies are something that you should probably experience before you watch or like listen to people talk about it for an hour. But this is a good
It
one.
really
too.
is something that you should watch and develop your own opinion for,
Yeah.
and not let YouTube
Yes.
advertiser
That's what I
number
do.
4 tell you that it's a cinematic failure and that you shouldn't
Yeah.
watch it because Ryan Johnson is the worst person on the planet.
By the way, not to name any names, but there is a video that I think Coley and I have both seen a million times on our like timelines on YouTube that is entitled "Why Star Wars: The Last Jedi is a Complete Cinematic Failure." And today, finally, after like 8 months of it being there, I clicked on it, and in the description, like the first paragraph is, "This movie is trash, garbage, and it makes no sense," which I guess I don't know. It was like something about
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson doesn't know how to form a coherent story.
Yes, exactly. And then the
do
second
I.
paragraph was, "My lawyer is trying to help me stay out of jail," and I just died
I had a
laughing.
link to a GoFundMe.
Yeah, it was a
to help him
GoFundMe to
raise
keep
my-
this guy out of jail. You'll know who it is like as soon as you look it up if you want to, because I'm sure it'll be the first
Why is he going to
result.
jail?
He
Dude,
wouldn't say.
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. That's
Yeah.
the only reason I almost watched the video.
Yeah,
But yes,
kind of
we agree.
hilarious. But so yeah, I would like to start with the start, which
Okay, so before we get into the movie, I want to. What do you guys consider? Because I think this is the what some people don't understand. Because a lot of people, when they think of movies, they think of a good movie or a bad movie. To a lot of people, there's no line in between.
and people form that opinion of good and bad based on whether they enjoyed it or not.
Yes.
Like
To some people, there's no such thing as liking a movie and understanding it has flaws, or hating a movie and understanding that there are good aspects.
Yeah.
There is one side, there is an other side. There's green or red. There can't be whatever.
And it's like what I talk about, where there are plenty of movies that I watch, and I can tell that based on the structure and the themes and the way things are set up and knocked down and whatever, I can tell that as a movie, it's an incredible movie, but I didn't enjoy it. And like some of my favorite movies are like bad movies, but I enjoy them more. So there is a difference, and I would like to say that. But I mean, for the most part, there aren't what?
I have one of those that I get ridiculed about a lot.
Oh yeah.
Tobey Maguire
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
the
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
I
Because
know it's a
they're
bad movie,
bad.
but I enjoy it.
But you won't admit it
Yeah, you're
until
right.
we recorded that podcast, that last episode. You admitted it.
No, I've said it before.
I-
do not think they're good, but they are absolutely
You'd
amazing.
be correct about the first one, sir.
They're
But so
amazing.
yeah,
Okay.
that
But-
I guess
I just feel like most of the things that we'll say will come down to the line where some people like think that there can't be a bad movie with good aspects or a good movie with bad aspects.
Yeah,
It has to
yeah.
be good or bad. And
Yeah.
I think none of us think the movie is perfect,
no.
but we don't think it's a cinematic failure.
And to be completely honest, everything is gray. Like everything. There is no good or bad or like right or wrong or whatever. But that's getting into philosophy. So let's start the stuff, dude.
So, we started talking about this last time, but I think the kind of like creme de la creme of lightsaber battles happens in this movie.
I want to talk about this because I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, so let's rock
See,
it
the
out.
reason that I think that it's so great is because you have a movie that very much spends the entire movie going against your normal
Yeah.
Star Wars genre tropes.
Everything that was set up in
Yes.
Episode 7, The Force
Completely,
Awakens,
yes, it's all red
Ryan
herrings.
Johnson goes against.
It's just like red herrings all over the place.
Yeah.
So the whole movie builds up because it's very much, everyone's favorite talking scene, which is probably why within the first hour and a half, most people were off because of like, wow, the opening was a lot of fun, but then nothing happened.
I don't like the opening either.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some bits.
There are
So
some
that's
bits.
that's where Poe that I was talking about. He like flies his X-wing like through these cannons on the top of helicopter guy on the top of like a big ship, and he's like shooting all the cannons. And then what he does is he he goes, or before that, he's like parked his helicopter chain in front of the giant window on the front of a ship. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the redheaded guy from The Force Awakens, who's like Hitler? He's like screaming at all the stormtroopers. Yeah, Donald, right? Donald Gleason. So he's there, and Poe goes. He literally like calls him up in his X-wing, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to General Hux, please?" And they're like, "Yep, putting you through to General Hux." And Hux is like, "This is General Hux. We will strike the rebellion down, whatever." And then he's like, "Yep, holding for Hux." And he's like, "This is Hux. I'm right here." And he's like, "All right, I'll hold." And then he's like, "What? Can he hear me?" Like to one of the, and I just, to me, it's like a little that I like a lot of the comedy in it, and I liked a lot of the comedy in Force Awakens, but I can see in moments like that why people had problems with it, because that just feels a little too like little kiddie for me. Maybe that's just, I hate to be like, oh, it's not like old Star Wars, but it's kind of not. And part of that is that it just doesn't really appeal. Mm-hmm. Like that humor isn't super funny to me. But it's more. I mean, the movies are for little kids, so like it's okay.
I think that it does exactly what we were talking. And I promise we'll get to the lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
We're very good at taking tangents. I think we all are. But it does exactly what I was like talking about. Why I think that movie is so great, is because it subverts kind of your normal Star Wars opening. Just like kind of does with the rest of the movie, where things will happen and you're like, oh, that's not what happened. Hux was a big, scary, cartoony guy, and now he's a kind of like...
Yeah, they make him goofy.
They put his makeup on like he's a vampire.
Yeah.
It's like, which I think is a great... And, I mean, he kind of loses all of his...
Yeah, and for me, there's a moment later on that sets up what could be a really interesting plot in Episode 9 between him and Kylo Ren, which I really like. And it makes him a little more serious again at the end. But he is kind of like a goofy, like, let's just like shit on this guy for the whole movie. And I just personally was like, oh, why? Like I don't know. I didn't feel like we needed. He's a little bit Jar Jar for me. Personally.
So we spend the entire movie doing all of these backflips and front flips, and your favorite characters telling you that all the things you thought about them in the past are wrong. And then finally, we have this incredible, almost culmination of 2 arcs, where
like 3
arcs, and what's probably the best scene in the entire movie, visually and visually and mentally, because it's very satisfying to watch because you see all these people come together.
Yeah, but I was gonna say the way it, because we keep doing like meanwhile back at the ranch. You guys know, where it's cutting from plotline to plotline. And I noticed watching it last night, because I like rewatched it, is that it's like a big chunk of one plot, then a big chunk of one, then a big chunk of the third, and then they get shorter and shorter and shorter. Mm-hmm. And then when it gets to this lightsaber fight, it's cutting like within like 30 seconds. It cuts to each of them, or like at one point it's like within 10, and I'm like, oh snap! Like it really ramps up how frequently it like cuts back and forth to him. Like I don't know. It's
like a steady incline in the
it's structured really well. But it gets faster and faster.
But the moment, all these things are happening, we're getting it reveal, and then slowly it has those moments between Kylo and Snoke and Rey, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you're like, okay, maybe Kylo's going to turn, and then he whips the lightsaber on, kills Snoke, and draws the lightsaber, and you have this moment where you're like, oh, snap. And as soon as you're having this, it does this very slow-mo into this long shot, and we push into the most... I remember sitting in the theater and I literally held my hands out and started shaking. I was like, this is so awesome! Yeah. Because it's one of those things where I think a lot of people, like, we just all saw not all of us, but we just saw the new Mission Impossible. It's really interesting when you see your favorite characters and their actual actors in like big long takes actually having these fights, because you can tell that it is Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver that are the ones fighting with these guards.
Yeah.
And it's just so damn... Rian Johnson talked about a lot how he was trying to kind of make a pseudo-samurai film with the way he was directing some of these action scenes, and you can really tell once we start breaking out of these long shots and we go into these like over-the-shoulder shots. Also, I thought just something cool with the choreography. Adam Driver is so tall and lanky that the way that he fights, he's like hunched over the whole time, and it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just... I don't know. It's one of the most entertaining and like.
It's when they fight they're called the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, it's just a spectacle, and I think it it's great to look at, but it also does so much for those two story arcs, especially by the end of it.
And see, for me personally, my problem with it, because I enjoy it, but my problem is that, and I don't think it's the fault of the long shot, because I'm definitely a fan of keeping all your action, visible, and not doing like the Jason Bourne shaky cam.
The Paul Greengrass.
Yeah. But like I like when you can see the action and it's all taking place, in front of you. But my problem is that some of it looks a little bit too prequel-y, where they're like doing these like sort of moves that are kind of unnecessary, and a lot of stuff where just like, I don't know, I don't feel the impact of it, and part of it looks like they were definitely not actually trying to hit like the stuntman that's in the Praetorian Guard costume, and instead they
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Made a
unrelated.
Okay.
Completely unrelated texture.
But like, I don't know, just some of it looked, they were moving a little slow, like where it didn't look like they were like for me, in episode 7, the ferocity with which they fight in the forest is awesome, and it's like
it's not trained at all. It's just
and they're
really
not doing like fancy moves or anything really. It's just like, but when the lightsabers hit, they hit and you feel it, and it's like savage, and it's like full anger, both of them. But then in this one, it gets a little more like floaty and a little closer to the prequels to me, and it just doesn't look like. Again, it just doesn't look like when Rey swings at a guard like she was even going to hit him in the first place before he blocks it. You know what I mean? Personally. But it's still fun. And that shot where the lightsaber rips through Snoke and then her hand whips up and grabs the lightsaber,
pretty cool.
I was like, oh shit, like in the theater. It was so
it's
cool.
like all on camera. That's So I think another great point, talking about camera work.
Hold on, what do you guys think about that
What do you guys
scene?
think? Oh, sorry.
About pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Are we to the end yet?
No.
This is close to the end.
Wake me up.
Okay.
Inside. What the?
Can't wake up.
Wake me up when September.
But okay, so this is the interesting point. Do you guys think that Rian Johnson is a king of cinematic failure and failed the Star Wars fans and did not make a competent movie?
I enjoyed the last
disagree.
50.
Oh god.
It wasn't a terrible movie. It's not like
It's like well made and put together and visually entertaining and well written.
And it actually has themes that play out.
Yes, and it is intelligent.
Yeah.
And it's not just a run of the mill, like regular sci-fi action movie.
plus the helicopter guy.
It's the helicopter guy,
Yeah,
Oscar Isaac.
Helicopter boy.
Helicopter boy. Helicopter boy.
My name's Poe Dameron, and I'm the helicopter boy.
Is it like the scene out of Jumanji where they're going through the canyon?
I don't.
Yeah. I haven't seen the
Sure.
new one, so.
Okay, so I wrote down like a ton of. You know what? Let's talk about some problems.
Yes.
To qualify with the people that didn't like this movie. Because the people who didn't like this movie seem to very angrily and loudly not like this movie. Exposition. Do you guys remember? Because Coley and I both recently rewatched it, but I don't know about Jaycee and Shane.
No.
Shane, obviously not.
No idea.
But like Jaycee, do you remember how they did exposition? Did you feel they did that well?
What?
The exposition. Do you know what that is? It's when you're like learning about.
I think he knows.
do I look like it? No. Yeah.
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 Okay.
I don't have many issues with the movie, really.
Were you in the same theater?
Huh?
What are you thinking,
that
Anthony?
I
So
Because I'm trying to think of
I went
any
to Fort Worth.
possible issues that I have with the exposition.
Yes.
And-
So for me, there are a couple moments, mainly within the first couple minutes, and this kind of comes back to like Hux again, where they're explaining things, and it seems like for example, Hux is like, we've cornered them. We have our new state-of-the-art technology ship right there, and it's gonna blast them out of the space. And like we literally just saw it show up. And like I feel like we see the rebels evacuating, and it's like they're pretty clearly like cornered, but he just has to like explain it. And then there are a couple moments where they're like, "Sir, our sensors have picked up that there are escape pods leaving the ship." And also, literally in the background of that shot, there's a giant ass window on the front of the ship, and through the window you can see the escape pods leaving the ship. And it's like, why didn't you fucking look out the window, dude? Like it's.
See,
Yeah, obviously.
Long term, that's not exactly a problem that I have.
Yeah,
with
I
the
get
film.
it.
It just,
There were
well,
just, like, a
it's
couple
just small
moments.
things like that.
Yeah.
I think think our biggest problems come with some things just feel... Rian Johnson, when you hear him talk about why he made the movie the way he did in terms of the edit and the things that were taken and put in, was like, he was like talking about pacing and how if we kept this in and messed with the pacing and it just dragged on.
And it's paced and it's super well.
It's paced super well, but personally there are moments, and I know a lot of people talk about this, but it just feels like I feel this is going to be probably our main topic of conversation. Maybe. The whole Canto Bite sequence, which seems to be everyone's problem with
Rose and Finn go to a casino
on Canto Bite.
on a planet called Canto Bite to find a master code breaker who will be able to turn off the First Order's technology that can track the rebels through hyperspace. Can I say really quick, speaking of the tracking thing, so Rey's plot is training with Luke. Poe's plot is he's a rash flyboy and he needs to be put in his place. And Rose and Finn need to find this guy. The like Poe plot and the Rose and Finn plot, it feels to me like an episode of Star Trek. Like, it doesn't really feel super Star Warsy, if that makes sense. I don't know. No, to me, it just was
you sense that there's like a lot of visual stuff. Like
it feels like it should have been an hour of television and
first
not
pops out of his pod and like whenever they are in like the hyperspeed, like just the way the hyperspeed is passing by the screen is very like not Star Wars-esque.
I don't know. Like, I'm cool with the way it looks.
Well, I'm just saying that I'm agreeing that there's a lot of stuff in the movie that feels very.
It's just that if you said that plot, like with no character names or anything, I'd be like, is it like an episode of Star Trek? Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a Star Wars film. Like, it just, I don't know. Star Wars to me feels like it would be a bigger adventure. But that being said, I think it's a great movie. It's just like, that doesn't feel super
I feel
Star
like
Wars.
this will come down to like our main problems with this movie. So we think it's a great movie with several minor flaws. Yeah. Several minor flaws. Yeah. Where are we going? The Canto Bite sequence.
Yeah.
This is the one time in the movie where I feel like the pacing just completely slows down to a super slow pace, and the whole time you're checking your watch going, where are we going right now?
It does feel out of place.
The movie is very long, and once we get past this Canto Bite sequence, everything speeds up. But it's this slow kind of like, what is going on here scene that is completely vital to the movie. But ultimately, like, it, in the long term, all it does to add anything is that we pick up a character, and we set up an ending.
What happens in that segment?
So they go to find this codebreaker, but then they get arrested, and then they meet Benicio del Toro's character, who's the guy with the lisp that we mentioned earlier.
Sorry.
And he's like, I can break the code, and they're like, okay. And so then they break a bunch of animals out that are like horses, like used in horse races, but they're not horses because it's Star Wars. So they break them out, and then
Star Wars horses.
Yeah, Star horses. And so then they take Benicio del Toro to the First Order, and they're like, turn the thing off, and he does. But then they get captured, and then he walks out, and he's like, I made a deal. It's all business, baby. No one's a good guy, no one's a bad guy. And then they're like, damn it. And then that's the whole point. Okay. Which to me, like the point of them like failing is the whole message of the movie, which is that you learn more. Good God.
I didn't realize there was water in there.
Yeah. What is wrong with you?
We're just spilling water and doing weird stuff. But so, God. So.
The whole point of that sequence.
Yeah, the whole point is it's like, you learn from failure, which is like what Yoda says.
Like the whole pacing, the whole movie is fine except that one segment where
it feels pointless because like the only points are at the end they fail, like they didn't accomplish their mission, but it's the whole point of what I was saying where it's like you gotta fail to succeed. But the main point of that sequence is Benicio del Toro's like, hey, there's no good or bad, everyone's just trying to make money, and that just sort of feels out of place to me in this movie.
I agree.
And it didn't feel like it needed to be in there because the failure thing definitely fits the whole movie way better.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah. Let's talk like character arcs.
That's literally, I had written that down on my phone.
Jaycee, Shane, if you remember at all, do you remember anything about like the character arcs and stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Right. Well, we'll just explain it to you. Jaycee, or how's this, Jaycee? What did you like about the movie?
This is good.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. This is good. I like scenes.
Which scenes?
Do you like the slow scenes?
Slow?
Yeah.
I don't do talking parts of movies.
Oh,
so.
God.
no. I really. I don't know. I didn't like Rose, whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Thought that was pointless.
Yeah, she doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
I wrote down she's the
Because it's
most likable character
It's-
that serves no purpose.
literally.
Because it's like trying to make you want them to be a thing, but it's like.
What I wrote down too was that her whole point is that she like embodies like the pureness of the rebellion. Like what Luke is saying, where he's like, the Jedi were hypocrites. She's the opposite of that. You know, where she's like, we just gotta do a good thing because good and save people, and like that's that's what they should all be. But
Does she
yeah,
die
she's
or does she just like get hurt?
No, she actually
gets
stops
yeah.
Finn from completing his character arc
Oh yeah.
and doing
that's right,
anything
that's right.
important in this whole series.
Which
and then
we can
kisses him, and then that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can comment on.
Yeah.
I think character arcs are the best logical. Let's start with what I feel is the most disappointing because it's never set. It's kind of set up, but then
It's set
never
up in a deleted scene.
Yeah, it's set
Which
up
is why.
set up better in a deleted scene. It kind of just shows up, and that's the character arc of Finn.
Yes.
Finn has literally nothing to do in this movie. Everything that he does,
Everything that he does is going towards a character arc that isn't established.
Exactly.
Literally.
Exactly. And then it has a semblance of wrapping up, but then the way it wraps up, if Finn dies where he almost fake dies, then if he goes away, then like I feel like I'm completely unfulfilled by everything that he does because nothing makes me feel like he has earned a heroic character death to sacrifice himself for the rebellion. Where at the beginning of the movie or at the end of The Force Awakens, he was running away. He's going to leave because he doesn't feel like he belongs here. And then by the end of the movie, he gets conked on the head. And at the beginning of the movie, he's like, okay, I guess I'm here and I'll go help everybody. And he's like, okay, now I'm going to kill myself for these people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like he deserves that character death.
And there's a deleted scene where she's talking to Poe, and Poe's like, hey, buddy, you're awake. And he's like, hey, man, I don't want to fool anybody. I'm not one of you guys. Like, I was a stormtrooper. I helped Rey. What am I doing here? And Finn and Poe's like, ha, awesome, and then just like walks away, and you're like, what? And so that perfectly sets up his character arc, because even when he's going to get Rey, you know, when he's trying to escape, he's trying to get to a safe spot for Rey to come find him, because he has like a tracker on his wrist. And so everything he's doing is either to escape or to help Rey. He doesn't care about these people. And then at the end, he's willing to sacrifice himself for this ideal. But it's not set up because they deleted that scene. That I think is the most important scene that they deleted.
I think without that scene, his arc still does not get finished by the end of the movie.
Even with the scene?
Even with the scene. I just don't feel like he does... Like, what happens in the movie that makes him go, oh,
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
going to be with
he
the
never
Resistance.
He never makes a choice.
No.
He just kind of does it.
Yeah, it just says that he's like, oh,
That's
yeah, I'm a
fair.
Resistance guy now.
That's a good point.
To me, it feels like Finn gets forgotten in this movie, and it's really upsetting because in the first movie he had an interesting...
And Coley and I, again, right before we started this, just watched a bunch of deleted scenes, and like all of them were Finn.
all of them.
4 out of 8, or 4 out of...
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 4 out of 8 were Finn. And that kind of sucked.
And now that we've talked about that, I feel like we can move on to what is probably... I kind of want to put these two together because I feel like they go hand in hand. Rey and Kylo's arc.
Yeah.
Because Rey is very much about, like, the past. You're Luke Skywalker, the Jedi, everything. And Luke's very much just like, stop. Which I feel like is the whole theme of the movie. And very, very meta.
Yeah, the
just
meta...
like, forget about the past. It doesn't matter
The
anymore.
meta theme is change is good, forget the past. But then in the movie, it changes its mind at the end.
Exactly.
Even though the movie itself, with all these changes, embodies that idea of change is good.
That's the moment where we all took a mental break.
What would you guys think, guys? This might not have been the best movie for us to talk about.
Well, you can talk about the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's talk about the
slowly
last
sensing.
15 minutes. Huh?
I'm slowly sensing that. That's what.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the last 15 minutes, Shane.
Okay. Want me to like explain point for point what I remember?
Yes, I
Okay.
do want you to do exactly.
So we walked in the theater, and the first thing we saw was all these little robot dogs
Yeah.
firing the lasers at,
Robo dogs.
at the guy.
Uh-huh.
That's actually
Yeah.
With
at
big
Luke-
robo dogs?
Yeah, big
Yeah,
robo
the
dogs.
big-
Okay.
Yeah, the big
The fire
TNT
lasers.
dogs.
Or
It's all
at
robo
ads.
dogs.
at the
We
hologram,
don't
but they
know
don't
how
know that's
words
the
work.
hologram.
Yeah,
I think you're talking- I thought you were
Where's
talking about
Kylo at this
crystal
point? Is he
balls.
fighting him or is
He's
he
in one of the
silent?
robot dogs.
When does he get out to fight him? After like all the lasers
Yeah,
are done?
the dust clears and Luke
He's
hits
just
him with
standing
one of
there?
those shoulder brushes, and it's so
Oh.
badass, but also kind of goofy. And then Kylo's like, "Brrr," and he's like, "Get me down there!" And then he gets down there.
And then what? They start fighting again?
Yeah,
the
they start
tussle.
fighting.
Luke's Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? Last 15 minutes. You're a master.
Oh, I'm still going?
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're fighting with the lasers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the sword lasers.
Oh snap!
The
Yeah,
lightsabers.
Sword laser.
yeah.
And I think
Popular
Kyler,
laser swords.
Kyler.
Kylan.
Kyler.
Kyler.
No, Kylan. You were right.
Rando.
You were right the first time.
He stabs
Yeah,
Luke,
yeah.
and he thinks he won.
Larry.
Larry, sorry.
Kylan.
Yeah.
Kylan stabs Larry.
Larry Skywalker.
Yeah.
Lamest Jedi name ever.
Larry.
My name's Larry.
Yeah. So he
He
stabs
stabs him. He thinks he won, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, his hologram doesn't like dissipate.
No, it's just he slices him in half, and then he slides through stop, and he's like, and then he turns around, and Larry's just standing there, and it's totally fine.
yeah. And then doesn't he disappear then?
Well,
No, he's
Kylan walks forward and
those.
holds his sword laser out, and then he pokes him with it, and nothing happens.
He's like,
and
catch
Larry,
you on the
yeah,
flip side.
yeah,
kiddo.
Larry just
Throws up a gang sign.
yeah, Larry kind of shrugs, and he's like,
That would've been
"Sorry, kiddo," and then he's like, "I'ma kill you," and he's like, "If you strike me down, I'll always be with you, like your dad," because he killed his dad. Remember in the last one, San Holo.
Han Solo dies.
San Holo.
Han
is a
Solo
good
dies!
musical artist.
Yeah, San Holo is actually a musical artist.
Wait,
But
really?
so yeah.
Mhm.
Him,
so-
Solo, the porn actor.
Okay. Oh boy. But so.
Oh, hey, Jaycee.
Then Larry's like, "Sorry," and then he fades out. Yeah.
Okay, and the next thing I remember is I think he gets mad, right?
Mhm.
Obviously.
Kylan.
The next-
Obviously, Kylan's mad.
Right. And then
He's
the
like,
next,
"Uncle."
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I remember is there's this beautiful sunset,
Uh huh.
and
And Larry's like.
Larry's like, he's standing there, and then he's humming like that.
Yeah. He's making the face because he's concentrating really hard.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then he gets naked and his robe flies away.
Yeah. But it's more like he's not there anymore.
Naked.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's all I remember. The sun.
Yeah.
He gets naked with the sun.
That sunset shot is really beautiful because
It
it's like
is
built
very
full
much so.
circle.
And then he just
yeah. And he's like poof.
poof. He poofs.
He hits him with that poof.
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 Can
Can we talk about Luke?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay. So one of
Just
the
were.
all right. Well,
He died.
his
It's over.
character. He Coley told me that he was confirmed for the next one. The actor, Mark
I
Well,
thought
Mark
he said-
Hamill is confirmed.
But remember how the little green guy was in
Yeah.
it, and he lights the tree on fire. Yeah, remember how Groot's in it and he lights the tree on fire with the lightning bolt?
No.
Well, there's a part where the
The
little
Green Goblin?
well, yeah, there's a part where Groot, the Green Goblin, lights a tree on fire, and he's outlined in blue. He's like blue and glowy. And so the dead guys can actually come back as what are called Force ghosts,
Is that-
and they're blue and glowy.
Is that what's gonna happen in Civil War, the next one?
Probably.
Like all of them are gonna
Yeah.
come back?
Yeah, when all
Groot's gonna set a tree on fire.
when all the Jedi fight.
What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
When
you know how
Thanos,
all the
and
people
Larry
died, they're gonna come back.
Skywalker,
and Larry Skywalker. And
I'm
Furry
so
Tall Man.
lost.
yeah, and
Tyler-
Furry Tall Man,
Tyler
and
Rand.
Beast from X-Men,
And-
and Batman, and Groot the Green
And Short
Goblin.
Metal
Green
One.
Goblin.
Yeah, and the Tin Man
And
from
the
Wizard
Tin
of
Man.
Oz,
Yeah.
and
With
the
plenty
Wizard-
of grease.
And the Joker with Tommy Wiseau.
Weezow,
Weezow.
and
Wazow.
yeah, they're all gonna fight each other, and
Oh, what's up?
And Groot the Green Goblin is gonna get mad at Larry Skywalker.
We're past the point of talking about this movie series.
Because Dad Vader killed Groot the Green Goblin's mom.
Wait, who's his mom?
Just no.
Don't forget about
Minerva, the lady
Tyrod Lannister.
Gamamara.
Yeah, Gamamara from Harry Potter.
Tide Pod Lannister.
Have you tried that flavor?
Okay.
This is all to say that this movie has generated enough talk to feed a
not
small
just
village.
not two whole nuffs, but just enough.
Enough. Not two nuffs, enough. This movie really does something special for the Star Wars franchise, and some people have realized that, and some people have thought, wait a minute, this isn't the Star Wars I remember from age 8.
Yeah.
I hate this movie.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Sneeze in the mic.
Damn it. Run away.
And I think a very good example of the point here is Poe's character arc. We're still on the topic of character arcs, along with our topical references. Because
I think we'll do character arcs and then themes, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
Poe's character arc is very much like the whole movie you're watching him, and he's like, whoa. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Lady with purple hair and Halo ring.
I was half expecting Coley to just stop there.
I would definitely describe Poe's character arc as whoa. Yeah.
Epic.
And the whole time you're like, Poe's the right guy. He's gonna go and save the day with all of his space helicopters.
Yeah, Laura Dern.
Laura Dern with purple hair. That's what we're gonna call her.
Genuinely looks ridiculous.
Laura Dern with purple hair.
Yeah.
But she has one of the coolest.
Is that Gamera's sister?
She does have one of the coolest moments.
Which moment?
When she anime styles the thing.
Oh,
hold on. Let me finish talking about this and then we'll get there. So Poe, who is like our symbol for like awesome Star Wars attack helicopter moments, is told no, and then when he's told no, he's like, no, but I know I'm right because Star Wars, and then ultimately he's proven to be completely wrong, which I think is a very interesting character arc because, at least for me, you're open up to the idea of you're rooting against Laura Dern with purple hair, she's the bad guy. And then after about 40 minutes, you realize that this preconceived notion of past Star Wars movies you've had kind of just gets flipped on top of his head.
Indubitably.
And it eventually leads to what we're talking about here, which is one of the coolest moments in the movie that very much seems like it comes straight out of an anime.
Yeah.
Jaycee, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best scenes in the whole damn movie.
Can you describe it?
Can you
you want me to tell you what happens?
Yes.
Can you?
Let me get the beans on this one, boy.
Can you describe it?
Dude, stop.
Stop
mouth fucking our viewers.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Are we gonna add bleeps?
Stop, dude. Let me describe what happens in the scene.
Yeah, go ahead. Describe it. I'm not in your way. Go ahead. All right.
So Laura Dern's character is like all the
purple Halo
Tide
lady?
Pods are escaping.
Yeah, Laura Dern with purple hair.
All the meme lords are escaping in the Tide Pods.
They're all escaping, and then the General Hux is like,
our sensors.
We're going to destroy the Jedi forces.
What's his name? I think his name's DJ.
DJ. Benicio del Toro with a stutter.
I thought it was BJ Novak.
Oh, was that appropriate?
No, I think it was DJ.
I thought it was CJ.
I looked at the cast and it said DJ.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Star
I'm pretty sure
Wars.
he's the one who sells him out, right?
Yeah.
He's like, they're going to escape.
Yeah.
And
they're like, what? We didn't tell them the truth. All right. Not exactly.
And then they make out.
No.
And then
No.
hard cut to Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Is
Dora Learn.
yes
With purple hair.
with purple hair.
Dora's in this?
Is sitting in the big spaceship, and she's like,
what to do?
She's like, don't worry, y'all, I got it.
All the good boys are like getting blown up.
All the
and
meme
they're
lords.
Like, what
All
are
the
we gonna
dogs.
do? And she's like, I got you.
And she's like, don't worry, meme lords.
She like turns her ship, and then somebody's like,
May the farts be with you.
Oh man, this is a nightmare.
one of the guys in the Tide Pods is like, she's leaving.
Yeah.
And then Poe's like, no, she's not. And then she's like,
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't know why I did
She
it.
doesn't know.
I did hard too.
Yeah, she turns the ship around and
Yeah.
points it at the bad
Yeah.
guys.
And they're
And
like,
does the one thing
fire the cannons at that ship!
that
And
I
then
feel
they're
like, yeah,
and
just
she's like, ow!
she does the one thing that I feel like all Star Wars fans are just like, dude, what would happen if you like
Yeah.
flew a ship at light
yeah,
speed
But-
into another ship?
Wait, hold on. You know how Poe's whole arc is like Pole? Yeah, so you know how
A pole dammer.
you know how
Pole dancing.
Leia the whole time is telling Pole not to like sacrifice people to win, and then Laura Dern turns around and sacrifices herself to win.
Exactly.
What? Well,
Rose
his
is
character
the.
arc makes no sense now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
I know it. Rose and Finn, they
Yeah.
are so cool.
The
but ultimately
failure-
serve no
the
purpose.
failure is the best teacher theme is killer, and it like covers the whole thing. But the like don't sacrifice yourself unless you're me like doesn't make any sense.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But it does lead to one of the coolest.
Yeah, so what happens?
Yeah.
So Dora learned.
Laura
Yeah.
Dern with purple hair.
Turns the ship, and then
Yeah.
she goes into what's it called? You know, hyper speed.
Light speed.
Light speed. That sounds right, but maybe
Fast times at Ridgemont High.
Fast
What's
Times
the
at
Star Michael Fast Times.
Yeah,
starring Sean Bean.
Warp speed.
Warp speed.
That's
Star Trek.
So
She
does one of those.
she beams up Scotty.
beams up.
She gives up Scotty and goes into hyperspeed.
Yeah.
Goes into hyper mode. Goes into hyper sleep.
He goes
Into the other ships, and it
Yeah.
destroys them.
And it's in this like cool shot where it's like black and white.
Very like almost like it came straight out of like an anime.
I remember
It's
because
probably
it
the
goes
coolest
like
moment.
silent. When
Yeah,
happens.
it does.
And I remember when I watched it in the theater,
And you just
there
see
was a
all
group
of the-
kids behind me, and right when it went silent, somebody was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Yeah."
All the ships just like split apart all of a sudden with like this
phew.
like white
Yeah,
like
it's so
line
cool.
streaking through.
It's one of the
really
coolest
dope.
things to look at.
Yeah, but so next character arc. So
Next
we did
character arc.
Pose and Finn.
Well, that's basically we never
okay, I
really
wanna-
talked about Rey and Kylo's.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. We'll do that really quick, and then we'll talk Luke, and then we'll talk. We've talked a little bit themes, but we'll talk about that failure theme because that's like the running thing through the whole thing. And then, like I said, we'll get out of your hair, and we'll leave forever.
So I think, and me and Anthony were
was
talking
a
about this
leap.
earlier, that Kylo easily might be one of the most, if not the most, captivating Star Wars villain.
Okay, people say he's a crybaby wuss, but his conflict in the first
first
one
movie-
is really cool.
Maybe, but I still think
And then
he's
in this
great.
one-
In this one, he's
Yeah, and this one is completely different. I love
Yes.
it personally.
he goes from he becomes a very conflicted villain that you actually begin to root with, even though he killed his own dad and thought about killing his own mother and all of these things. But you can tell that consequences from the first movie kind of pay off, which I think is something very interesting, because if you look at someone like Finn's like one of the main characters of the movie, yet all of the stuff that he does in the first movie doesn't seem to matter at all. Yet you have another character like Kylo, who everything that happened to him in the first movie pays off. We literally start the movie with him being like, "You failed.
Yeah.
You killed your dad, but it doesn't matter. I can see that it's affecting you."
Yeah.
With Finn, on the other hand, he's just like, "I'm here," and we
And
never
I
really
love
hear
that
anything about
we're set up with Snoke being like, "You're still conflicted about your dad," but in reality, he's conflicted about whether he should kill Snoke or not.
Exactly.
Which is pretty sick.
Exactly.
Also, I'd like to say with Kylo, I brought this up to Coley earlier. The Knights of Ren are set up
and then never brought up.
and they are probably the only thing that's set up in The Force Awakens that is sort of knocked down and forgotten about in this one that I really wish had stayed in, because like Canto Bight, I feel like no one would say that sequence is pointless if just like the Knights of Ren had been there. Like if they had been
Something
holding
that adds semblance to the
yeah,
rest of the story.
if they had been like holding the Master Codebreaker like hostage or something, like knowing like they were gonna trap some rebels, or at least they're just keeping him away from the rebels so that he doesn't like hack their ship or whatever. He doesn't use like JavaScript or however hacking works.
JavaScript.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Use C#.
Yeah, he doesn't use C# for the meme lords. So
Escaping in their Tide Pods.
escaping the Tide Pods. Like if they had been in there and been a present threat that was like set up in this one for like a really cool like through line in episode 9, that would have been really cool. I'm a little sad that Rian Johnson didn't use them, but that's just me, because I feel like that would have differentiated Kylo Ren even more from Darth Vader. personally, but I don't know. I really dig his arc. I kind of was really kind of expecting / hoping a flip-flop of him and Rey at the end, because like if Luke had like kept driving Rey away and then she finally turns right at the moment that Kylo Ren, like she has convinced Kylo Ren to be good, and then she changes her mind, so now they flip-flopped and then now they're enemies going into 9. That would have been really interesting and cool and different from any Star Wars movie before, but no. Yeah.
And in Rey's arc, I think Rey has a lot of things that are end up being red herrings from episode.
So dope.
I think we brought this up in our last episode. But the fact that Rey ultimately, and I swear if they change this in episode 9, I'm going to be really upset.
I bet they will.
Ultimately, she's the daughter.
No, I bet they won't. Honestly.
She's the daughter to no one. Yeah. You know how cool that is to be like, we're not trying to.
She's not important because of her blood.
Yeah, she's important because she's just this next line of Force-driven people. I don't like this. Anthony.
I love that Rian Johnson was like, what does Rey need? She needs to stand on her own 2 feet because she depends on everybody as like her parental figures. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have Kylo Ren tell her, you're nobody's daughter.
And then have her find out, I'm nobody's daughter.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
She was born in a test tube?
It was a total...
No,
yeah, basically.
She's a parent.
No, she's a
child of nobody.
She's
literally
a child
of
the midi-chlorians.
Yeah.
Do you remember that from the prequels, the midi-chlorians?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Well, basically...
They like race of Spock.
George Lucas, the guy who originally created it, decided that the Force was secretly little aliens that live in your bloodstream, and that's what makes you control stuff. And he says that Darth Vader didn't have a dad. He just came from midi-chlorians. He's like just made of
like it
the
just started forming.
Bro, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Don't ask me. But so
ask George Lucas.
Yeah, but so
ask George Lucas, bro.
George Lucas.
But then finally,
oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, because he's dead.
Anyways, just ask Michael Chiklis. He played him in that one movie. I'm sure he'll be able to answer these questions.
Michael Chiklis?
Chiklis. Star of the Shield. Anyways, this can lead us into Luke's arc, and then we can...
Yeah, Luke. So, this is probably the biggest problem that fans have with The Last Jedi.
Hashtag not my Larry Skywalker.
Yeah, hashtag not my Larry. So, we start episode... What is this now? Fucking 8? Yeah, so we start the last Meme Lord with... we start last Meme Lord with Larry has decided that he's cut himself off from the Force. He can't use it. He can't touch it. He can't look at it. He can't smell it.
Can't kiss it.
Can't kiss it. He can't hear it. He can't taste it. I think that's all your senses.
Can't feel it.
Kissing it.
He can't fuck it.
Okay.
That's not a sense.
No,
but ultimately,
there's no way I thought it was. But yeah, so he has decided that he's gonna remove himself from the equation. And what everyone says is they're like, Luke bitched out, man. What up, vagina? Like he's not. Our Luke wouldn't do that. He's the best. He would not chicken out like that. And I say to that, Luke did not chicken out. He did.
Luke has a very plot-driven reason for it. That's literally what the entire movie is.
And it's not just plot-driven; it's character-driven. And I feel like it's in line with his character from the first ones. He's like, okay, Kylo. Like the reason that all these Darksiders, okay, everyone but me is rubbing the lip of their glass, and I'm scared.
He has a very character-driven reason.
He has decided that because all these like dark side people keep coming because he's such a strong like light side person and the Force balances itself out, he's going to take himself out of the equation so that this bad stuff stops happening. It's like in Iron Man 2 or whatever, how...
That's a bad movie.
I disagree, but how everyone... someone finally is like, hey, you know that Iron Man's just... Like, all these bad guys are showing up just because Iron Man shows up. Or I guess Dark Knight would be a better example. Yeah. They're like, the Joker exists because Batman exists. Luke has realized that, and he's like, all right, I'm cutting myself off from it. And I feel like that's like a super heroic thing that Luke would do. That's not him like bitching out.
It presents a very interesting moral quandary between Like, do I want to be the cool Jedi that's romanticized by hundreds of 45-year-olds?
And that's his whole thing, is he's like, the Jedi were hypocritical, which links us to the prequels, where they are. And he's like, they only bring about more darkness. I am like the most powerful Jedi that's ever existed. The only way to save the universe, like the best thing I can do for everybody, is to quit. And I feel like that's a total Luke move. That's just me, though. I
agree.
And then at the end, he comes back around, and he decides to be the symbol that the universe needs, so that, you know, everyone can band together and really fight for the rebellion. And then he dies in the process. And I think it's really beautiful.
As do I. Do you guys have anything apart from...
We're making vaginas out of our fingers.
Oh.
That's literally all me and Shane were doing.
Okay.
Can't wait to cut this out.
No, I'm leaving it in, dude. Okay, yeah. What do you guys think about Luke?
He's a swell fellow.
I thought his name was
Larry.
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 Oh God.
Okay, yeah.
I think I confused everybody. Yeah,
Now
Larry the meme lord. Sorry, not whatever I was saying. Luke. Who's that?
Is Logan in this?
Yeah, he's
From Logan Lucky?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that movie?
Because
their last names are
Logan Fucky.
or Logan Gets Lucky.
I like that better.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an idiot and no one likes you.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't have to rub it in.
We're up all night for Logan to get lucky.
All right, so I say we move on to the themes.
The themes. The big themes.
The themes.
Oh.
I have to leave.
We have 8 minutes left.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool.
I have to leave like right when we're done.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd say the themes that play out are, I guess that the big ones are the universe, everyone, there's no good or bad, it's just about like making a profit, which again it's kind of just thrown in there.
I feel like.
Shh.
Sorry.
Yeah, obviously the meme lords are good, but according to BJ, there's no good or bad. It's just
I thought this was a PG show.
No, it's fucking not. Okay. And then what's the other one?
I'd say
you
the
gotta
biggest one
save
is,
what
yes.
Rose says. She's like, you gotta save what you love, not destroy what you hate, which also isn't super great. And then you have to let the past die, so that you can like do your own thing and become who you want to be. And that's Kylo's whole shebang. And then the big one, the one that really works, I think, best is failure. You have to fail to learn. So failure is good, and you can't just like win all the time because you won't learn anything.
I think the biggest one ends up being that kind of Luke's whole story arc.
Yeah, which is the failure thing.
No. Just that, you know, the past isn't everything.
Because
don't be afraid to. Well, because I know it's
like
the
I
Last
said,
Jedi. The movie is about like there's nothing wrong with welcoming a new idea, a new thought, which is pretty ironic considering that everybody that saw this movie was like, I don't want something new.
Yeah.
When as soon as The Force Awakens ended, they were like, I want something new and not something like old Star Wars. And then The Last Jedi came out and it was like, I want something like old Star Wars, not like new Star Wars. So I think, personally to me, Rian Johnson is very, in a kind of a meta-narrative, trying to be like, hey, this is just, it's new for everyone.
That's
and
what
I think that's what it's saying at the very end. At that very last shot with the kid is that the Force is for everyone. Yeah. Like not just like all of the people that we used to know.
Yeah, let's go.
Are Force people. It's
now
something
you're just
that's passed
Larry
on.
that
I was about to do that.
Now you're just
Larry.
some Larry.
Now you're just some meme lord that I.
But yeah.
But see, my thing with that.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to accept something new. Star Wars isn't going to stay the same for the next 30 years.
But see,
something will change eventually.
But see, I think that again, like the outside, the meta narrative of it, and the way it's building for most of the movie is it's saying let the past die, like we have to do new things, and then Rey at the end is like, I'm a Jedi, and then she like goes against that, and she's still the protagonist. Like Kylo Ren isn't the good guy now. And then Luke at the end is like, she's a Jedi. It's the old ways are still alive. And it was just sort of like, why? Wait a minute.
I think it's like
I feel like it
I
backtracks.
think he's it's like a bit of embracing. Because, like, Yoda blows up all the temple. Like,
oh, yeah, I guess because Yoda's like... Because Yoda says...
Who's Yoda?
Oh, sorry. Groot, Green Goblin. He says to Luke, he's like, they are... Talking about students. He says they are what... he's like, we are what they grow beyond. And that is the true burden of all masters. So maybe it is saying... That makes sense. That's why Luke comes back. It's because he's like, this is her story now, but I'm kicking it off. I'm helping her out.
Exactly.
Shit, I was wrong.
Well, no, but yeah.
No, that's good because that makes that lesson better. I like that.
So yeah, I think we've ultimately.
Wait, hold on. I want to talk about failure.
What about failure?
What do you mean? What about failure?
I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. All I was gonna say is that, so Poe fails hardcore in this movie.
Yes.
Poe is the gung ho. Let's go,
Paul.
Adam. Sorry, Paul.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, Paul Rudd is like, let's go at him, let's get him, we're on the attack, let's kill him. And the whole movie they're on the defensive, and he can't. And he's like yelling at purple-haired Dora Learn, and he's like, hey, you're wrong about what you're doing, but she proves him wrong like at every turn. Albeit, she could have given him more information. Those people's complaint is correct.
Yeah, that's fair.
But she, she's right about like what they need to be doing. And then they get back, and he's on the retreat the whole time. At the very end, he reaches his, he has changed. His character arc completes when he says, when he's like, all right, guys, we're trying to destroy this cannon. It's not going to work. Let's fall back. So he's learned his lesson. But it's all about, he learns that, like, failure is okay. Finn is like, I got to help find this code breaker. But he can't. It doesn't work. He fails, but he learns from it. Rey tries to help.
Oh, I never really looked at it like that. I mean, it's right in your face. They talk about failure all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally all of them failed.
And then, and Rey is like, I'm going to change Kylo Ren.
Even Kylo
I'm finally going to fix him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. And Rey is like, or Kylan.
Well, actually, I guess Kylo wins. No, he fails at the very end.
Kylo wins? That's
Kylan fails in his own ways, because he comes out from under this guy that's been oppressing him, but he wasn't able to change Rey's mind, which he really wants to. And then, Darth Ben.
Darth Ben.
And then at the, he's not able to like get them at the end. Speaking of the end, I like how we see that shot where Rey is in the Millennium Falcon and looks down and sees Kylan. And you can tell that they still have that Force link, which I like. That sets up something for episode 9. What's up?
Can we talk about what we all would rate the movie out of a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah, let's do that at the very end now.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. But I'm still talking. I was in the middle of a sentence.
You were like, what's up?
Dude, I'm angry at you. Okay, so everyone fails, and then they learn from it, and it's summed up perfectly. I gotta find it. I gotta find Yoda has Groot Green Goblin has this beautiful line that completely, I think, sums up the whole movie, and it's stuff like this that makes me go, like, why do people hate this movie so much and say that it's a cinematic failure? Because it totally works. As a movie, it works. Coley and I kind of agree that or Coley says definitely, I say it might be the best movie, like the best structured, like it talks about themes, whatever movie that a Star Wars movie has ever been. But so his line is this, and I won't say it in my Groot Green Goblin impression, even though I want to. He says, strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure most of all. The greatest teacher failure is. And it's just like, oh, dude, like that's the whole point of the movie, dude. Like he just summed it all up, and it's so cool. And he lit that tree on fire, and it's super dope. And he and Larry get to chill. All right, I think, is that everything we were gonna say? So now we can rate it.
I think that's a great way to leave it. I just want to say.
So fail, dudes.
Fail.
That's the point of this podcast. We fail all the time. This is bad.
We fail 4 times.
If you think Star Wars failed, there's nothing wrong with that. If you think it didn't fail,
learn from it,
fine.
dudes.
Learn
from
Figure out what kind of Star Wars movie you want.
Boom.
It's
Call to action,
okay
bitches.
Not to like something.
Yes.
It's perfectly okay.
No, it's not. Not unless I say.
Oh yeah. How could I forget?
Okay, Coley,
well, anyways,
what do you rate it?
Well, yeah.
1 to 10.
That's
go.
that. So we'll wrap it up here.
Taking too long.
We'll give our
Jaycee, go.
numbers. Jaycee.
No.
So
Coley first.
I'll be very general because I feel like I'm putting a number down on it, kind of. I think if I could pull it out of
Jaycee,
10,
you go ahead.
No, I have a number. I'm just talking about
8.5 out of 10 for me.
I think it's a solid 8. A great movie with incredible promise and a little weak in some places.
There's some problems.
Jaycee?
8.5.
Yeah.
8.5.
I would give it a 15 out of 20 because I've seen the last 15 minutes.
Nice.
Ratios.
I would also give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Then a perfect 5 out of 7.
There are a lot of parts where I'm like, this is a 9, dude. Like, I love this movie so much. I think it's shot well. The ending makes me feel like really excited.
Probably the most beautiful looking Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I love so many parts of this movie, but I see many of the flaws. So I would say it's an 8.5. But Rian Johnson, we love you, dude. I think you killed it. Sorry that so many people.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, dude, Ryan.
Make sure to tell all your friends about us.
Ryan, you're so cool.
Tweet at us. Oh shit, we need to make a Twitter.
No, we don't.
But Rian Johnson's gonna tweet us.
Oh man. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan.
All right. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening this far. I hope you enjoyed listening to our wonderful talk about.
Yeah, you didn't.
The most over-talked about movie of 2017. I hope you enjoyed the lack of literally I said in this podcast. That's in the last podcast. I said literally every 5 minutes.
I probably said again a lot. Sorry about that.
It's making me self-conscious. I'm trying to think of words that I've said.
But yeah,
thank you guys once again. Don't be afraid to fail.
There's nothing wrong with
we're
not
an
liking
educational
something.
podcast. You're welcome.
Yes,
this is the whole point.
We've taught you something today.
Yeah.
But also, while you're at it, don't forget to check out our weekly episode sponsor, New Order.
Okay.
With their hit single, Blue Monday.
How does it feel? We'll fade out on this.
How
does it feel?
It's okay
the
to
podcast
fail.
is over. And you treat me like you do.
There's nothing wrong with hating something.
It's fading out. It's
not as bad as you think it is.
And you have me like you do.
Atomic Blonde was it terrible?
What?
Atomic Blonde was it terrible?
Oh. Alright.
Oh, can I end it?
Okay.